Hello everyone, myself Aishwarya, your SST subject teacher. I welcome you all for the next class. We were discussing the chapter Earth in our solar system. Now I have told you what is solar system. Solar system, it's not just moving on a plane surface, it's also moving forward, and that moving forward nature is known as helical pattern. Now, what makes our solar system? Our solar system consists of the sun, planets, their satellites, asteroids and meteoroids that whole make our solar system. Now, we'll discuss one by one, but before we discuss one by one, I want to tell you that from where our solar system name has come from. In the Roman mythology, people used to worship the sun god and they named it as Sol. So from Sol, it has named it as solar system. Now, what is the first point of the solar system? Is the sun. The sun is in the center of our solar system. As it is the center and it is very big and it is very huge, due to its big and huge, it has some pulling force. Because of this pulling force, all the planets revolve around it in a fixed path. And it is the ultimate source of light and heat. It has ultimate source of light and heat. And as we were discussing that what is the how far our sun is if we compare to our earth. Now it is 150 billion kilometer away from the earth. It is very far. Because it is very far, so we gets its light and heat in a limited quantity, and we are happy with it. Now if we travel with the light speed, as light is the fastest speed, if we see what is the fastest thing, the light is only the fastest thing, but still it takes 8 minutes from the sun to the earth to reach. It takes 8 minutes from the sun to reach on the earth. It takes 8 minutes. So you can see that how far it is. Now we have discussed what is the sun. The sun is in the center. All the planets revolve around it due to the pulling force, and it is the ultimate source of light and heat. It is 150 billion kilometer away from the earth, and if we travel with the light speed, it takes 8 minutes. It takes 8 minutes to reach the light from the sun to the earth. Now our next topic is the planet. When we talk about the planet, the first 4 planets, that is Mercury, Venus, Earth and Mars, they are made up of solid matter, but the rest ones are made up of, some are made up of gases. Now all these planets revolve around the sun, and as they revolve around the sun on a fixed path, but still that path is not in circle, it is elongated. Now what is elongated? When there is a circle and we compress the circle and we put a pressure on the surface, that shape is known as elongated path. Now the first planet is Mercury. Mercury is the nearest planet to the solar system, to our sun. It is the nearest planet, and as it is very near, its path is also not that big, and you will be amazed to note that it takes only 88 days to complete one whole circle to the sun. And as we live on the earth, it takes 365 days. That is where we call it as 1 year. So 1 year of our earth is derived as 365 days. But when we talk about Mercury, it takes only 88 days to complete the round. And as it is very near, the life doesn't exist over there. Now when we talk about all the other planets, in order to their distance, these first 4 planets, that is are Mercury, Venus, Earth and Mars, they are still very near to the Earth as we compare the rest of the planets. And after Mars, we'll find out one asteroid and meteoroid belt. And that asteroid and meteoroid belt, after that all the other planets are still very, very far, and they are very far from the sun. And if we see our sun from the Pluto, it will be pointed as very dot. It will look like a very dot or like a star thing. It will not appear as big as what we see from the earth. It will appear like a dot. And you'll be amazed to know about Pluto that Pluto takes 248 years to complete one round circle. And as I tell you, when we have discovered Pluto, so we have discovered around 100 years back. So till now it has still not completed one round. So do you get an idea that how far it is from the sun? And later on we'll discuss about all these planets. Now the next planet is our planet, that is Earth. As we talk about its distance, it is the third nearest planet to the sun. But when we talk about its size, it is the fifth largest planet. Like the first planet is the Jupiter. After Jupiter, it comes at the fifth number. Now, we are very thankful because we are surviving in such a unique planet that it has favorable climate conditions and it has favorable supporting life conditions. Now, what are these conditions? Still we have known, like there are many discoveries, there were many, the intelligent form of surviving life, till we have discovered, it has been there that we need water, we need air. So till now, Earth is the only planet which can support life. Like all the other planets, they are very far. They are very far. That is why they cannot get the heat and they cannot get the light of the sun. So that is why they are in a very cold climatic condition. That is why life cannot support over there. And those planets which are very near, like Mercury and Venus, they are very near. So because of extremely hot and extreme light, the life still cannot support there. Earth is the only planet which is neither too hot nor too cold. That is why it supports life. Now, when we are talking about our Earth, we cannot forget the first satellite. We have only one satellite, that is our Moon. When we talk about Moon, as Moon is very near, it is the nearest satellite. It is the only satellite to the Earth. So we think that the life is also support there, but no, life doesn't support over there because it doesn't have all the favorable conditions. But in these few years, we have discovered water also. It is not given in the book, but still we want to know. I want to tell you that there are so many discoveries that has happened. So it will not, later on it will be given in the chapter, but till now you should be aware that there are many discoveries that has happened. So recently we have discovered water. Let's see, life is supportive over there or not. But till now the life is not supportive over there. They have Moon has mountains. Moon had depressions. It has the landscape because it has mountains. It appears like a shadow when light falls on the Moon. So because of these mountains, because of these depression. Now what is depression? When there is a hole on the surface, and it is at the farthest point, that depression. We are talking about that when something is digged from the surface and that becomes a hole. So that is known as depression. So Moon takes about 27 days to take one spin of the Earth. And how many days our Earth takes to revolve around the Sun? 365 days. But Moon takes only 27 days to revolve around our Earth. Now the next topic is asteroids and meteoroids. As when I have started with the chapter, I already told you that our solar system consists of the Sun, 9 planets, their satellites, asteroids and meteoroids. Now when we talk about asteroid, now what is an asteroid? It is the rock, and let me tell you, it's a story that the scientist has told that there was a planet which was near Mars and Jupiter, and suddenly it exploded, and due to its explosion, these small rocks were named it as that it was a planet, and these small rocks exploded and they distributed in between Mars and Jupiter. So you will find this asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter. These are the rocks which also revolved around the Sun. So there is a story. Now in that asteroid belt, the largest asteroid is the Ceres. The name of the largest asteroid rock is the Ceres. Now we come up to the meteoroid. Now what are these meteoroid? Meteoroid also are the smallest rocks that also revolve around the Sun, but somehow they come from outside. We don't know it about them, from where do they come. But when do they come near our solar system, And as you know that all the planets and the sun also have pulling force. Now due to this pulling force, these meteoroids from somewhere, we don't know from where do they come, these also come, and when they come in contact with the sun or the planet has also its gravity, its gravitational force. So these gravitational force also attracts all the meteoroids, and somehow they come in contact with our atmosphere. Like if we talk about earth, suppose like meteoroid come from somewhere and it comes towards our planet earth. So when it falls on the earth's surface, it has some friction on it. It creates a friction between atmosphere and that meteoroid. Now there are some big rocks and there are some small rocks. These meteoroid, actually they are very small, but in that meteoroid rocks there are some biggest and there are some smaller. So when they come in the friction of the atmosphere, somehow they burn when they enter, and they slowly they burn with a flash of light. But some are so big that they do not burn in the atmosphere, they fall on the earth, and that makes a or a hollow shape on the earth's surface. Now these asteroids and meteoroid belts has a relatively they are very relative to our solar system. As I've told you that what is asteroid? Asteroid belt is in between the Mars and the Jupiter, and they also revolve around the sun, and the biggest asteroid is the Ceres. And meteoroids, they don't know from where do they come and from where do they go. When they come near these celestial bodies, they also have the gravitational force. Some passes away, but some enters in the planet, and due to entering in the planet, like in our planet, it attracts with the frictional force, that is with the atmosphere. Some burns with the flash of light and disappear, and they leave only ash on the surface of the earth. But some are so big, when do they come inside the atmosphere, they fall on the ground surface and they makes a hollow shape on the earth. The last topic is the galaxy. When we talk about our galaxy, what is galaxy made up of? It is made up of billions and billions of stars and the dust of clouds. Now we are very small part of the galaxy. Now before I start the chapter, I have taken to the journey to the journey of the universe. Now what you have seen in that journey is the only 5% of it that we can see it. There is another 69% is still in the darkest, and 26% it's still we haven't discovered. So you are amazed or not that we can only see 5% of the whole universe. We still cannot see it, and the scientists are still finding and still discovering new things about our space. Now this ends with the chapter. Thank you.